Tuesday, everybody, from another sportsbook. We've been here once before though. Back at the South Point Hotel, Casino, Spa, Suites, Rodeo, Bowling Alley, Haircut Place, Barbershop, bars, restaurants, and lounges. Sizable poker room. 22 tables worth of poker action to be found here at the South Point, which, as previously mentioned, allows for lots of room for a meetup game. That's what brings us back here to the South Point on a Tuesday afternoon. It's like 4:30 in the PM. Speaking of WSOP, my personal experience so far with WSOP has been a very break-even experience thus far. I started off pretty good at keeping up with the updates and kicking out the videos. Things kind of trailed off for me a little bit over the past handful of days as I was just experiencing a little bit of chop. Been splitting my time up at a few different properties, mostly the usual spots, plus the Rio where the WSOP is going on. So far for me, it's been win a session, lose a session, win a session, lose a session, back and forth. I haven't played any more WSOP tournaments yet, just the Big 50 so far, and just been trying to string some cash game sessions together, some winning sessions together, but hasn't really happened yet. Yeah, just a little bit back and forth for me. So no real results to report for myself during WSOP. Plenty more cash games and tournaments to be found during the rest of the series, but for today, meetup game, and we're already underway. I've played 2 tables so far, and with so many tables, I don't know how many tables we have. I want to say about 12 again. I'll get the official count later, but trying to play each table for about 45 minutes before switching seats into a new one. A couple of interesting hands to report back right off the bat here. There was a raise from middle position to 20, late position call, and I looked down at King, Queen of Hearts from the blinds. Lately, I've been trying to widen my 3-bet range a little bit in these 2-5 games because I feel like people don't adjust perhaps as well as they could. Obviously, it always depends, lineup dependent and such, but since I'm out of position, I decided to put in a 3-bet. It's suited, it should play pretty well, which might lend itself to a flat call as well, but let's increase the variance a little bit. I make it $110 to go. The initial raiser calls, but then the late position caller puts in a 4-bet to $500, tosses 5 black chips out there. Super weird. Wouldn't expect him to be trapping too often from late position there. Allow the blinds to come in for a reasonable price, but unfortunate to have to let go of a hand as pretty as King Queen suited, but I go ahead and make the fold, and action folds through. So we don't get to see what he has. If I had to make a random guess, I would guess it was Ace King, the way he just kind of tossed in the money there, the 4-bet. Anyway, shortly after that, there was a raise from middle position to $20, and I look down at Queen 10 suited. I make the flat call, no 3-bet this time, and we are off to see a flop heads up, in which we flop trips. He checks it over to me, I go ahead and bet $20, and he makes the call. Turn doesn't change anything, he checks it over to me again, and this time we bet $55. Once again, he makes the call. River, once again, shouldn't change too much. Checks it over to me, size it up to $170 for a value bet, but he check folds in this instance. And he did let me know what he had. He had the ace high flush draw. So he makes a pretty straightforward fold there on the river after flopping pretty well, but doesn't materialize. Could have played a much bigger pot, so he definitely could have lost a lot more if he had taken a different route. Shout out to Andreas in that hand, who was my opponent. Next interesting hands here, after I had put in a couple 3-bets thus far already, we see a middle position open to $20. We look down at pocket kings in position. Go ahead and make it $60 to go. Folds back to the initial raiser, who puts in a 4-bet, and I believe he makes it 200 even. I have about, I want to say $750 in my stack at the moment total. So, you know, 4-bets I feel like pretty strong, usually pretty strong in a 2-5 game. We're gonna lose the maximum versus pocket aces anyway, but I want to just go ahead and get all the money in. I might have a bit of an aggressive image, and maybe people want to make the vlog no matter what. So I go ahead, jam all in, and my opponent snap calls. So perhaps a little worrisome, but I go ahead and flip it over, and he shows us Ace King. So we're off to the races, and we find a safe run out. So things are looking up. I was stuck a little bit right off the bat here in the meetup game. Find a good situation there with a Kings versus Ace King. And then not too long after that, we find ourselves in a double board bomb pots. Very fun. Highly recommend working the double board bomb pots into your home games, your local casinos. Great fun, everyone seems to enjoy it. Interesting hand here when we look down at King Queen offsuit, and we flop ourselves top pair on the top board and a king high flush draw on the bottom board. So I go ahead and bet $45. We'd each put in $10 pre-flop for this double board bomb pot. I bet $45 on the flop and see a call from a player in position. We turn trips on the top board and nothing changes on the bottom board. So I'm gonna go ahead and put maximum pressure here. I feel like we are gonna have the best hand on the top almost always drawing live on the bottom board. I go ahead and jam all in. My opponent snap calls, and I say I got this trips with a king kicker on top and usually drawing live on bottom, but actually no, not drawing live on the bottom. He flopped himself the nut flush, so drawing dead on the bottom board, and he is drawing dead on the top board. So chop that one up. Little anticlimactic, but plenty more poker to come. And by the way, look at this. Look at this, you guys. You want to see some beauty? Check out this beauty. This is some beauty, you guys. The brand new favorable hoodie, black on black. Little homage to the original black on black. This thing is warm. This thing is comfy and warm. Look at this outfit.
This is actually called a 2-beer cooler. It's lined, so you can put 2 cans.
Really?
In there of like.
I don't see 2 cans in there.
Drink it here.
Okay. This is quite the outfit, though. Well done there.
Oh, thank you.
Sharp, very sharp. Alright guys, we are on the move again here, switching tables. Interesting hand from the last table that I just wanted to report here. Opened up the Queen Jack offsuit to $20, get 1 call in position and 1 call from the big blind. So 3 ways to a flop of Ace 10-9, flop an open ender, and after the big blind checks, I go ahead and put a C-bet of $35. Player on the button folds and the big blind makes the call. Turn is the 5 of diamonds, presenting backdoor flush possibilities. And after he checks it to me, I'm gonna keep barreling here. I go ahead and bet $110. Once again, he makes the call. So we're looking for some help here on the river, which does not come. Offsuit ace on the river. Pretty terrible card. I think I'm gonna shut down all my bluffs here. Don't expect him to ever fold an ace unless I just go absolutely crazy and jam all in, but not looking to do that. It seems like people like to calm me down in these meetup games. They don't want to fold. They want to make the vlog in one way or another. So after he checks it to me, I just check it back, and we get some very good news when we hear him say jack high. So very good result here with the queen high. He must have had the jack 8 for the open ender himself. We were actually value betting the whole way with queen high. So all right, moving on. Okay, coming at you guys live from just outside the Steak and Shake, as you can see back here. Milkshake's on point, but that is not the point of this update. The point of this update is to talk about a couple hands, and we're doing a round of straddles, which in my opinion is a great time to pick up pocket aces, the best hand ever known to mankind. So I go ahead and raise it up to $35, and we see a call from a player in position, I think in the cutoff, I want to say, and a player in the big blind. 3 ways to a flop which comes down 8, 7, 5. The big blind checks. I put out a bet of $55, and only the player in position makes the call. Turn is not a great one. It pairs the 8, so I go ahead and check it, and actually checks through. River is a queen. I think once he checks back on the turn, I should feel pretty comfortable with my pocket aces. We should be able to get value from some middling pairs, some pair plus straight draw type holdings that did not get there, did not improve, but will be able to call a bet on the river. So I go ahead and bet $110. My opponent goes into the tank before deciding on a call. We show it down and he mucks his hand. So pretty good result there with pocket aces, especially on a flop that is pretty connected. Not too sure what I would do if I face a raise on that flop. Versus more players, I could maybe get behind a check for pot control, and then once we bet on the flop, it could get a little bit sketchy, but pocket aces work out okay this time for us. Shortly after that, we find ourselves in another double board bomb pot, in which we are looking down at 9-4. The 2 boards are dealt, and we flop ourselves bottom 2 pair on the top board and absolutely nothing on the bottom board. It's $25 a player here on this table, $225 in the middle if we're playing 9-handed. We see a middle position bet for $50, and the player on her direct left makes the call. So it feels a little bit light. I don't think we are up against a super nutted hand here when it's only a $50 bet and a flat call. I'm gonna go ahead and put some pressure on here. If we can fold out their hands, that's great, because we have 9 high on the one board, on the second board, and we can't scoop this pot with 9 high. Our 2 pair is also vulnerable, so if they fold, I think that's a very good result here. I kick it up to $250, and the initial better in middle position folds. The player in the middle goes into the tank. He goes by the name the Alaskan Assassin, so trying to talk the Alaskan Assassin into a fold. Happy to just take the pot here. Unfortunately, he has other ideas. He goes ahead and jams all in. I think it's about $600, and I don't think we can do anything other than make the call here. And it's not a great situation, because if we are up against a hand with any equity on the top board, then we're in danger of getting scooped here, because bottom two pair is never a lock in any situation. The turns and rivers are dealt. We end up with a full house on top and absolutely nothing on bottom. I'm feeling pretty good about the situation, and in fact we are chopping versus king 3 offsuit. The Alaskan Assassin tries to do it to us here. Any king, any 3, or a running pair might have put us in a very precarious situation here with our vulnerable 2 pair, but as it is, we chop it up. Can't complain about that result too much. All right, probably gonna play for another hour or a couple of hours or something like that. Pretty amazing turnout here once again. I'm not sure, but I want to say 12 tables over here of 2-5 with bomb pots and beverages, which I've not partaken in yet, thankfully, but there will be more. There will be some beverages later on though. Okay, so I'm facing a television here in this lounge bar area right next to the poker room. So this is it's gonna be a wrap. Hanging out with the crew, having a beer. The crew is right back here. Solid turnout at this this meetup game. 150 or 170 people or something like that rolled through. So cheers to everybody who came out. Thanks so much. As far as hands go, I don't think I have anything more significant to add to my session. Won a small pot where I I bluffed with 3 high, with 3 deuce suited, got that bluff through.
Got him. God damn it.
Lost a couple small pots with pocket 6s. Won a small pot with queen jack off suit, I think. Nothing major to report. Really cool that we have access to so many tables here at the South Point, so cheers to the South Point for running things so smoothly over here. They hooked us up with the pizzas. Lots of people got a free slice of pizza. I'm sure we'll be spending more time over here. The WSOP train rolls on. I am traveling to a wedding. My buddy James is getting married. James was featured in a very early vlog.
James is playing tour guide for me.
He lives in Chicago with his lovely fiancée Nina, so heading out there for the weekend. I'm in the wedding. I will show you guys some shots from the wedding in the next video, probably. No poker though for a little while, because heading out this Thursday, coming back the following Tuesday, the first time that I can remember that I'll be leaving Vegas during WSOP. So should be interesting to get out of town and see what that feels like, but it'll be fun. And then once we're back next week, tournaments, WSOP tournaments, we're gonna win some serious money, 6 figures, maybe. Oh, and guys, did I mention how dope this hoodie is? This is my new favorite hoodie. Look at this. Look how sharp this is, and it is warm and comfortable. Trust me. Check it out. favorableapparel.com.